Hey guys, today I'm here with Toni Jordan from Toni Jordan Digital. Now, we all know that social media is more crowded than ever before and there are so many voices shouting for attention. So we have a chat about how we as people and as businesses can build authentic human connection on social media, avoid the trap of comparison, and we also discuss things like faking it till you make it and how we can come across and just be genuine with social media today. I will add a quick public service announcement that there is so much happening right now in the world of social media and digital technology and Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp and TikTok that these views may not be shared by everyone. And this story and what we're talking about may be different as well if we were talking about kids. But yeah, have a listen. If you have different thoughts, reach out on social media, start a conversation with us. We want to hear, we want to learn, we all want to grow together. Hey Toni, thanks for coming on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm going really well. How about you?
Yeah, doing pretty well. I've got coffee, good. So I'm wide awake right now.
Life. I love coffee. I'm a bit of a coffeeholic, actually.
Yeah, my go-to is a caramel latte with almond milk. Well, you do many things. You are a singer, songwriter, social media manager, mother, teacher, coffee addict.
Yes.
And you've also are a business owner.
Yes. I started my own business only about 4 months ago. It's been a bit of a journey getting started, but yeah, it's really exciting, something different. Like you said, I've got a number of different things that I've kind of pulled different bits and pieces from skills-wise and kind of merged it into something of my own.
That's awesome. So your business is called Toni Jordan Digital.
It is.
And it sort of focuses around social media marketing and digital marketing.
Yeah. So basically I found a need in our community, especially in Bundy, but everywhere really, for businesses to utilize social media for their own goals and kind of reach what they're trying to achieve with their businesses.
Yeah,
it's a space where everyone's kind of on it anyway, or a lot of people, that's where their attention is. So helping businesses to utilize that space more effectively and not nag people. Teaching them how to communicate and what that looks like for their business. It's really fun. I love it.
No, that's cool. That's awesome.
Thanks.
One of the things I hate, hate's a strong word, but dislike is the fake it till you make it mentality.
Yes.
And so because you have so much experience in the social media world and with like customer engagement and just people, and you're a great people person, great at talking to people.
I love people.
Well, that's good, especially for this episode, because I wanted to talk about how we can build authentic human connections with social media. And those two can be an oxymoron sometimes.
Yeah, they don't always go together, and it's a bit of a controversial topic, I think, but it's something I'm quite passionate about. And like you said, I'm a people person, and I actually believe that translates online. So customer service doesn't stop when someone's out of sight. You can make a big difference in the digital space as well. So whether that's just answering someone's question, just like they would ask you and you'd respond in person, you can do that on digital, on social media, and they might come in.
Yeah.
They might come and buy your product or engage with your service, or they might love your sense of humor, and then it becomes a relationship that will grow into something more, perhaps.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So before we get into that side of things, with your new business, one, how's it going? And two, what inspired you to start your own business?
Yeah, it's actually going really well. I've been really surprised with how businesses have received it.
Yeah.
It's not something that's well known in Bundaberg. There's not many people that are social media managers in this space, and even the people that are doing marketing as a whole package or the strategic marketing side of things, they actually don't want to offer this as a service. So often they'll plan out a package and then say the business can implement it themselves. So I just saw that there was a gap. I found that it was something I was really passionate in with my previous experience at different jobs, and I really liked the human connection part of it. I love communicating from different perspectives and meeting new people and seeing what makes them tick and finding ways to communicate what the business wants to achieve in a way that people will receive it in the same manner, because sometimes how you want to tell someone something is not necessarily how they'll take it.
Yeah, I've experienced that a lot.
So it's going really well. I've been really well received. I've got lots of clients. I can take on more if anyone's listening. But it's been really fun just getting to know different businesses and networking with different business people, even if they're not ready to, you know, commit to something right now. I've made lots of contacts for possible future projects or work or...
That's cool. And what inspired you to start and go out on your own?
I have, like you said, a bit of a mixed bag. So I'm a people person and I'm creative and I think outside the box. And with all of the different jobs that I've had, so I'm a qualified primary and music teacher. I've done singer-songwriter stuff. I did a music degree. And out of all of that, I figured that one of the key elements was people. So I love to connect with people. When I'm performing with my music, I love to write things and perform things that make people feel emotional stuff, maybe take them to another place, transport them elsewhere. The same thing with my work in customer service roles. I loved giving people an experience. I loved people to come and just not feel like they were just getting a coffee, but they were getting a smile and someone that was really interested in their day and how they were feeling. And maybe if somebody turned up with a bad day, I could kind of turn that around.
Turn that frown upside down.
Exactly. So, I kind of used all of those things and, I thought I am really good at that even when that person's not directly in front of me. So you're not limited by space or distance online. You can connect with people all over. So I found in my various roles, part of my experience has been managing different businesses' Facebook pages and commenting back and liking and sharing and just making that connection. And I could do those same things on Facebook. I could do those same things on Instagram and respond to people, and they might be having a whinge and a complaint. And then when I hear what they're trying to actually say to me or dig deeper and find the real problem, they usually finish that conversation with a different perspective, or I had a different perspective and I learned something. So it's all about the people. So I like it's not limited by distance and I can do it everywhere. And
that's cool. And I like what you said, even with music, about like taking people on an experience, taking them on a journey. And like with social media and marketing as well, like you're sort of doing that, like you're telling a story, you're taking someone in a journey, you're guiding their hand.
Definitely. So with each different business that I manage, they each have their own personality, like the business I'm talking about. They have their own way of communicating and speaking, and that's really fun because it means I get to kind of use my creativity and that performance experience and put on a little persona and help that business communicate what they're trying to say and help their customers respond, and it becomes a community and people they want to get involved in the community. No,
that's cool. I love that.
Thanks.
So talking a bit more personally with social media, how does it fit into your life? Like, why do you use social media? And like, what social media apps do you use?
My relationship with social media started a very long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember MSN Messenger. Did you ever have it?
Yeah, I had MSN.
Okay, so that was the thing. After school, all of my friends would go home and we would sit on MSN Messenger, and if I was allowed on the computer, which dial-up internet, oh my gosh, if I was allowed on the internet and it would connect, I would sit on there for hours if I was allowed to. And I would just chat with my friends and we would chat about anything and nothing at all and just have a great time. That's when it probably all really started. Then I got MySpace. And
MySpace.
yeah, how brutal was ranking your top friends?
It was rough.
I'm glad that I don't have to do that anymore because that was next level.
I actually just checked out my MySpace profile today. Like they've changed their website
2.0 now.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that the MySpace, the original, is no longer there because it would have been real cringe. But yeah, so from then until now, it's very different. My motivations for using social has changed as I've grown, and sometimes it's been healthy and sometimes it hasn't been. Now I use it for work. I also use it for personal connection with friends and family, Instagram and Facebook especially.
Yeah.
I've moved around a lot, so.
TikTok?
Yes, I love TikTok. I probably consume more than I actually contribute on TikTok at this stage. I did start a few work ones, which were really fun, but I no longer work at those places. So I hope that they keep it up because we had some really good traction. But yeah, I have, I've moved around a lot. So keeping in contact with friends and family from all over and being able to share moments with them, or for them to be able to feel a part of, seeing my kids grow up, and I can give my friend a call and kind of still have some kind of idea of what she's doing with her life. And and if she hasn't posted for a while, I might kind of notice and go, hang on a minute, is something up? Can I do something? What do you need? It prompts me to ask the questions and helps me be a little bit more present, I think, in relationships that might kind of go to the wayside because they're not day to day. I don't see them all the time. My family's spread all over the East Coast. So
I love how social media can connect us no matter location.
Yeah, it's really powerful in that way, because otherwise when I was growing up and before MSN Messenger and all of that, I had to call my dad maybe for, he lived 8 hours away, and so I couldn't send him pictures, and he had to wait for a week if I wanted to send him a letter or photos.
Did you ever have a pen pal?
I did have a pen pal. Oh my gosh, I actually had a few through school and through other organizational stuff. Yeah, those were pretty cool. I reckon we should bring them back a little bit more.
So for anyone who's listening who doesn't know what a pen pal is, can you give a quick explanation?
Okay, so generally there were two kind of organizations that might partner with each other, or schools, maybe from across the world. So in Australia, we might have somebody from China or Indonesia, and you would write letters to each other, and you'd get one back and try and
have this sort of friendship.
You'd never meet them. You have no idea really what they do apart from what they tell you in that letter. That's your entire concept of who that person is. Really. Oh man, that's a blast from the past.
Imagine if you had a pen pal and they were just telling you about their life, about they lived in a palace or just were rich and just living it up in this place. You wouldn't know whether it's true or not, because all you'd have is their word and what's in the letter.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's everything that they wanted you to know in that particular letter. That's all you got.
Yeah. And I loved pen pals. I had a couple when I was in school. But I think it's a good contrast with social media, for the fact that
true.
Our social media profiles can sometimes look like we can tailor them to show that the image that we want. And with in business, if that's aligned to our beliefs and our passions and what we're providing, that's great. But on a personal level, if we're sort of presenting a fake image,
it's a fine line.
Yeah.
It can definitely help or hinder us.
Yeah.
And I think it's more about our motivation for what we post.
Yeah.
Personally, I am drawn to people's social profiles that aren't a highlight reel. I don't know about you, but my friends that share when they're having a bad day, or giving a little bit of, hey, you know what, I've been through this, but look where it's gotten me and I'm really proud of myself. Or just people kind of coming together and celebrating when someone's overcome something. I'm drawn to those just as much as I am to any kind of highlights.
Yeah.
But you're right, you can tailor. And sometimes I think people, get upset because it's not real. Or people might fake things like, I don't know, staging a picnic and then they're not actually eating a picnic.
Yeah.
That stuff I don't.
Taking a family photo and then the next moment behind the scenes, everyone's fighting and it's chaos and no one likes each other.
Okay, but fair. Have you ever taken a family photo? Those things are hard.
I have 8 younger siblings.
So you know.
I know.
That's just, but I'm sure your parents probably did that before social media. It was the same thing when you just had a normal camera and no one was posting it. You probably just take more photos now because you can choose the best one. Yeah. That might be the difference. Is before it was film. Yeah. That film was expensive. You're not going to take 100 and hope that one's good. You just take it and like it or lump it. If your eyes are closed, tough.
And I think that's one thing that I like about, like, especially Instagram, especially Instagram with like photography. Like, I like taking photos. I find I'm a very creative person. And even before I had my own social media accounts, I used to take photos on like Dad's Nokia, like the small little brick Nokia.
No way.
The camera was horrible. And then like disposable cameras and things.
Yeah.
But as soon as I was allowed to get Instagram on Dad's phone, I was like really young, can't remember how old I was. I started posting on Instagram just photos that I was taking. No real purpose other than I wanted to like share. It's like I made my first photo ever, which I might post on the podcast Instagram, is literally a pot of bolognese that I had helped make, and I took a photo of it. It's the worst photo.
That's the best.
But
you wanted to share that moment.
Yeah.
Your motivation behind sharing that was just pure. You just wanted to share that with people. You wanted to have that like, look how cool this is. I'm really proud of this. Yeah. And I think if that's the motivation behind sharing, then I'm all for it. If you're staging things and making it look like your life is super glamorous because maybe you're internally not super happy, I think that's where the damage comes in. But I'm not one to point a finger and say that's fake, and because that might be their reality. They might love getting dressed up like that all the time, and I've actually been people have told me that I kind of come across like that my feed looks like a highlight reel, and that my hair always looks perfect. And guys, my hair does not always look perfect. And I probably post a lot more of those quick snapshot things that just happen, and I might not look super made up or whatever on my stories. So they don't stay there all the time. Yeah. And I prefer to hold on to the memories in posts that I want them to look good, and I want them to stay there. Yeah. Like probably a bit more permanently. But it's not like I'm trying to say that I look perfect. It's just they're the moments that I looked really good. I felt great. I want to remember how I felt in that moment.
And at the end of the day, I think like we can't judge any person on whether they're like faking it or whether they're like trying to present an image to the world. Like, I think that's a very like individual thing.
Exactly. And who knows what that person is actually striving for. If you're seeing a certain image of them and it's not your experience of them, maybe they're doing some internal growth. Maybe they're trying to reach different goals. That sparks a conversation. Hey, I noticed that your style's changed. What's going on? Or I noticed that maybe the way that you're speaking has changed. It's more formal. Yeah. Is there a reason behind that? Like, I'm really intrigued. Maybe they're trying to just use better captions or more creative stuff. Like, it's all about their motivation.
I think sometimes we can like focus too much on like everyone else and like, have that what's that the plank in our own eye, and like focusing in the splinter and on someone else. Is that what's the
Yeah,
saying?
you're trying to remove the splinter from someone else
Yeah,
when
and
there's a
forgetting
plank.
the plank in
Yeah.
your own eye. And I'm like, I think before looking outwards at everyone else and what they're doing and why, I think it's really important that we look internally at ourselves and making sure that we're not trying to seek like an unhealthy level of validation through social media, through these apps and platforms, and that we're doing our best for us to just, I would say, be authentic.
For sure.
Be real, not try to present that fake image.
I think that comes with age and maturity and knowing who you are. In the last, 5 years, that's changed drastically for me. The stuff that I would post now that I have my own businesses, and it would be different from when I was mostly staying at home watching my children. It's just my level of growth and where I'm at in my journey is very, very different now.
Yeah.
So if somebody was to kind of say, well, you're fake and you're doing all of this stuff, I just say, I love that my stuff comes across like joyful and happy.
Yeah.
But I'm also pretty real in my posts, and I might say, look, this has been really hard and I've had to overcome this, and how are you guys going with this?
Yeah.
And if you have any connection with me in person, I treat everybody like I can learn something from them. It's something that I've always strived to do.
Yeah.
Meet anyone, they can teach you something, whether it's something about yourself or whether it's something about the world or learning a new fact or just anything.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So in my circles, like over the past few years, there's been a lot of people I know like quitting social media or deleting their apps, or for even a period of time, maybe not forever, because they need to take like a social media break or a social media detox. Have you ever done anything like that before? Or
Not really. I've kind of tried to internally do the hard yards on why do I pick up my phone? Why is it that I'm scrolling right now? Why am I still here 3 hours watching TikTok?
Yeah.
And sometimes those questions can be hard to answer. Sometimes they're not pretty answers. Sometimes they're just, it's habit.
Yeah.
I find that breaking those habits, might look different for everybody. For me, my work was on my phone, so it's not something that I could always turn off or just delete my apps.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have gone very well for me in my professional realm. But I did create different rules for myself around, if you're sitting at dinner with somebody, don't take your phone. It's a rule at our house when we're sitting down as a family eating dinner, no phones. My kids aren't old enough to have their own phones yet, so it's mainly for Pete and myself.
I think that's really healthy. I think that's really good,
because then you are present. I found that was probably my biggest issue, is that I wasn't always present with the people where I was at the time. And so I was missing things. I was missing moments. I was missing conversations. But yeah, doing that internal work, like why? What is it that I'm seeking from this? Am I just wasting time? Am I trying to get validated by other people's opinions or even strangers' opinions?
Yeah.
Am I looking at the number of likes? Am I looking at am I waiting for a compliment? Because that's kind of a big thing for me. I like compliments, and I like people telling me that they appreciate me. Words of affirmation.
Love language, words of affirmation,
Words are one of my biggest.
Yeah.
So for me, that could easily become something that is super unhealthy on social media. But it's my motivation behind what I'm posting and me doing that internal work. No one else can do that for me.
Yeah.
And if someone believes that they're not quite able to do that without getting rid of, or it's easier for them to just get rid of that, then I'm all for that.
Yeah.
You have to do what you have to do.
I agree. And my whole reason of having this sort of conversation around this particular topic is not to judge anyone listening or to make you feel bad or everyone's journey is different, but I really just want to help encourage people to shift the focus from social media is bad, social media is damaging. Yes, it does have negative elements to it, but I think if we shift the focus from that to ourselves internally, and like you were saying, like our reasoning for doing things, putting maybe guidelines in place on when we do or don't use it, I think then we can start to have a healthier relationship with it.
It's just like anything, really. Technology has made it a bit more accessible, and it's a bit more prevalent. It's something that kids nowadays have a little bit of experience with. You know, we didn't grow up with that. We had Nokia 3315s, and you had to press the button 3 times to get to the letter that you wanted.
Had Snake.
Yes, Snake was that was it. That was the rage. But because it's more prevalent, it is something that we have to consider, those things. But it's not that different. The human condition hasn't changed all that drastically from when people were looking to journalists in the newspaper for, you know, that human connection, seeing how people thought and how they communicated about a particular political topic. Or so all of those things used to be in the Sunday Mail, or, you know, those newspapers, or on television or on the radio. My grandparents had a relationship with their radio, like I have a relationship with Facebook. Yeah. They would turn it on, their ear would be glued, and if you tried to talk during one of their segments, oh my goodness, it was not ideal. They just wanted to soak all of that up. That was their social connection, that was their link to the rest of the world and what was going on. Yeah. So it's not that different, in my opinion. I don't think it's that drastically changed.
Yeah, no, I think you know, Gary V, we both know and love him.
Love Gary V.
Shout out to Gary V. And like, he's a big name in the business world and marketing, and especially social media.
Social media, key, yeah.
And one of the things that he talks about is how social media exposes and sort of highlights what is already there a lot of the time. It exposes our already existing, like, ways we communicate or ways we do certain things, just in a different form.
Exactly. It's just human nature.
Yeah. And like, he also talks about how he believes that we sometimes shift the blame too much onto social media
and the platforms too.
Different platforms.
Yes.
And I do understand there are elements of it that are made to be addictive, and there are elements that are made to target us to keep using it and have those dopamine hits and stuff. But I think that's only one part of the picture.
Definitely. And you could say the same thing about television and the advertising and things that go with that, and Netflix and any of the other streaming services. You know, they're, like you said, we kind of need to stop pointing the finger and, well, I think you mentioned Gary Vee said that we point the finger a lot at the platforms, and it's really important to take that responsibility and just do that internal work. And if you don't like it, if you don't like something about the way that you are behaving or acting or how something is affecting you, then it's important that you can take some steps to change that and make that a healthier relationship. Or if you choose no longer to have that, then that relationship no longer serves you, then walk away, move on. That's like totally okay.
You can leave. Like, talking about like people quitting apps, usually at the end of the year, I take at least a full week without any social media. So I still have my phone and messages for but I usually tell people that I'll be like not that contactable, and I delete Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, any WhatsApp, any social media app I have, and I plan ahead to make sure that for that whole week I can. And I'm not necessarily doing that to then, like, I'm not spending a whole week like working on myself or doing like, it's just a week without it and just having a bit of a breather, because like, similar to you, I do a lot of my work like on my phone, on my computer, which makes it's so much more accessible when it's right there and I'm already on Facebook, already on Instagram doing work. So for me, even knowing my motivations for using social media and how it affects me, I still need time away and time off of it, because there's just so much noise sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes there's just a lot of clutter, and that's okay, and that's great. Do you find that it is beneficial? Do you find you've got more time?
So much more time. I'm not spending hours on TikTok.
Yes.
I'm not scrolling aimlessly on Instagram. I'm not having Facebook arguments with people on Facebook. But yeah, no, it's cool. And I'm loving where this conversation has gone. And one of the things that I really would like to touch on is the like authentic human connection. And I read somewhere, someone explained it, that an authentic connection is a genuine connection with someone else, dropping the fake image, showing vulnerability, and sharing one's true self.
Yeah.
Now that can sound quite deep. My question to you is, how do you think we can work towards building those authentic connections over social media?
For personal people, like as in individuals to other individuals?
Yeah.
I think it's just about understanding your own motivations first.
Yeah.
And then, because some people post, like you were saying, they're just really proud of that moment and they want to share it. Some people post everything because they just want to stay in touch, and that's their way to show their daily life.
Yeah.
Not everyone's relationship with social media is going to be exactly the same. But I think if you know who you are, then what you post will be a reflection of that, or can be a reflection of that. And then if you are genuinely connecting with people, knowing that the person behind those comments or behind that response or behind that like button is a person with their own opinions, feelings, and background, and they bring to the world a different experience than you, it just enriches your life.
Yeah.
So you might learn something. For example, the other day I put up a simple request that I thought was just hey guys, I'm looking for this. Can you help me out? And somebody private messaged me and said, I don't know if you're realizing this, but that came across as actually a little bit racist. And I was floored because I am not a racist person. I love everyone. And honestly, I deleted it straight away and I messaged her, and how I responded to that could have been so different.
Yeah.
Some people would have just gone, oh, well, you know, I wasn't, and so you can get stuff like that. You're being really touchy about that. But I was so upset that I had offended her or that I had come across that way, and I rectified it by just saying, can you teach me why? Yeah. Because that's not my experience. I didn't know what I was saying could have come across like that, and I learned something out of that, and that enriched my life. Now I won't make that same mistake again.
And I really like that. And I think sometimes we forget there's another person on the other side of the device.
It's all about people.
And like if you try to remember that there's an actual human living being who has feelings and emotions, like even in that interaction, like whether they were right or wrong, just creating that space to listen, to understand, try to understand, is massive. I'm a big believer of making, if it's possible, every situation a win-win. Yeah. So in that situation, I didn't need to be right. I didn't need to save my pride. She wasn't being rude to me. I didn't feel the need to be defensive. I just thought, how can I make this a win? And that is a wrap. Thanks for listening today, guys. If you want to follow Toni, her Instagram is Toni Jordan Digital. We will also link it below. And if you don't follow us already, our Instagram is @ForTheCreatives_podcast. Follow us, connect with us on there, send through what you would like to hear about on the next podcast episode. And if you have any conversations or thoughts around this episode, or maybe something you don't agree with, send it through there. Let's have a chat. Let's start a discussion.